Welcome to this episode of Ink It Up with Jessica TV. Today I'm going to show you a fun watercolor technique using a stamp with markers and an aqua painter on watercolor paper. I went to a Stampin' Up! Gathering recently and Kristen Bryant had this cute little note card for us to make, and I really just wanted to show you how to do it because it's so much fun. It's a really simple technique, but it makes you look like you're really artistic and talented. So those are the kind of techniques that I love. So we're going to go ahead and start with a piece of watercolor paper. Both sides are the same, so it doesn't matter which one we use. I'm going to use a stamp from the Bloom with Hope stamp set and the brush tip of the markers. This is Strawberry Slush, and I'm just going to use the brush tip kind of on the side. You don't want to mash down on the tip of it to color in the flowers on the stamp. And I want to be careful not to color in the parts that I want to stay green, or I want to be green, so I don't want to color them with my pink right now. So I'm just going to color that all in. Make sure I get the whole stamp covered. And then I'll come back with the brush tip of my green. And you can see on the brush tip, it's thicker on these Stampin' Write markers from Stampin' Up! And the writing tip is a smaller line on the other side. And this is Mossy Meadow for the green. So I'm just going to color in the stems. And the leaves. Again, using the side of the marker more than the tip. It's going to keep your marker nicer longer. Now, when you are coloring a couple different colors on there, sometimes the first color that you start to color will dry out on the stamp. So what you want to do is open your mouth up wide, put the stamp close to your mouth without stamping on your lips. Trust me, I've done that before. But you're just going to give a huff, and it's going to the air from your mouth is going to just re-moisten all of the ink before you stamp it. And then I'm going to stamp this on my watercolor paper. Okay, now it might not look like much yet, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to take an Aqua Painter. This is kind of like a paintbrush with water in it. And so I have a piece of scratch paper here that I'm going to use. Just want to make sure that it's getting wet. I'm going to come in on the pink first. And I'm just going to use the water in my Aqua Painter to spread that ink around. Now you don't want to totally obliviate, I can't even say that word. You don't want all your details to go away. How about that? So you don't want to overdo it, but I'm just pulling the color from the stamped image so that I'm coloring in the flower. And it gives it just a real watercolor look. So the more detail you get rid of, the more watercolor look you're going to get. Now you'll notice on this one I colored in the center. This one I didn't. I think I like it better when I didn't color in the center. But you could always add something, little bling in the center there would be pretty too. So I'm going to do the same thing here. So here is another trick for you. If this isn't getting as dark as you want it, you find you want a little more color, you can take your clear block, you can scribble some ink from your marker on there, and you can pick that up and use it to color with. Okay, so you're just getting a nice watercolor look. When you're done with a color, and be careful not to smear your colors, I'm almost starting to do that. You might want to let your one color dry first before you go on to your second color so that they don't smear. But once you're done with one color, you're just going to run your Aqua Painter on scratch paper until it's clear, and then you can come back and do the next color. And sometimes you might have 3 or 4 or more colors on an image. And this just gives a nice, pretty watercolor look. Like so. Isn't that pretty? And then it is going to dry different than it looks here too. So it will, as it dries, it'll kind of suck up some of the water and look a little bit nicer. When you're all finished with that, you can go ahead and tape that to the front of your card. I'm going to tip it over on my scratch paper to kind of blot out some of the water. And I've cut this so that it's 3 inches, so it'll fit right on the front of the card. And this cardstock that I'm using is Mossy Meadow to match the color that I used on the flower stems. Okay, so we'll tape that on. Normally you want to wait until this dries to tape it on. The tape's going to hold better. But for the sake of this video, we're going to make it go fast. This is Strawberry Slush Twine. Very pretty. Just going to wrap it around and then tie it in a knot on the front. You can also wait to add this if you wanted to use this to add this to a gift bag. You could also wait to tie this on to the handle. Otherwise, I'm just going to tie this in a knot. And then push that right up to my watercolor paper. You can play with that as much as you want, and again, cut these as short as you'd like. And you just have a really pretty little gift card. So I hope you'll give this watercolor technique a try. Thanks for watching.